Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of NC-17. This is going to be an epic crossover. We have with us Clint Myers, who is the owner, proprietor, the guy, the end all be all of Grease Stain Cinema. How you doing today?
I'm doing just great, man. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right. Uh, I'm not even going to ask ridiculous amounts of questions. I'm lying. I'm going to, but anyhow.
I'm good with it.
Oh yeah. Before we get into the movies and stuff like that, just give a brief background on your channel and stuff, so the people who are watching NC-17 can go and watch your awesome stuff too.
Okay. Um, I've gone through a couple of podcasts now. So this is technically my third one. But I kind of got away from the audio only format, and now I've got just a video YouTube channel. So my idea now is on my very first podcast, I really got into like talking to indie actors and watching indie films. And when you're researching somebody to interview them, like you want to see as much of their stuff as possible. So you end up watching all these independent movies, and they really start to get to you after a while. And I really started to like them, and they're very welcoming into the community. And that's kind of where this is going. It's my little way of feeding something that I really like, and then kind of giving back because I can give these folks a little platform to speak on. I can promote their movies, I can watch them, I can review them.
Okay.
So that's what I got going on over there.
Oh yeah. Similar format here. The thing about it is so I've actually gone in, like originally this was going to be a wrestling podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, you're. I'm a wrestling podcast with 15 other wrestling podcasts. I'm going to get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
And my love for movies, especially horror, outweighs my love for wrestling. So I was like, you know what, I got to get away from that, start doing this, and it's been very rewarding because I get to meet awesome people, grade A celebrities, stuff like that. I mean, the independent scene is really booming right now, but
Yeah.
not only that, then I get to share the same space and occupy the same spaces shows like Grace Stain's Cinema and get to meet people like you, which is we share a common love for the movie. So
Yeah. I do want to thank you for inviting me on the show. I was not joking when I said I can literally count on one hand the number of times that's happened. Um, I can shout out Justin over at the oh Jesus Christ, what the hell's the name of it? Um, Tales from the Podcast. Wow, why did that take so long to come up? Um, um, and a couple of other ones that aren't coming to mind right now. Anyhow, it's very rare, and I appreciate you having me on. And maybe at some point I can return the favor because it doesn't happen a whole lot getting a whole crossover episode.
oh yeah.
You know, yeah,
Hey, anytime I'm I'm down. Trust me, man. Anytime.
yeah. Maybe we'll pick one of these independent films and I'll have you on for a review. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. That definitely. Yeah. So let's get into what got you like name the one movie that was like that's that's why I'm going to be doing a podcast.
Um, I don't know if it quite worked out like that. I had a strange beginning into podcasting. I had started listening to one, and they had they got together for a meetup one time. So I actually drove down to Tennessee to meet up with all these strangers I'd never met before in my life, and the only thing we had in common was we listened to the same podcast. And I met a couple of cool folks, and I stayed in touch with a few of them. And one of them was like, "Hey, man, we ought to do a podcast together." And it was really just going to be a review podcast where we talked about horror movies. We were going to just find something terrible on Tubi to look at and and do a review of it. And like I said, it morphed into the independent films. I will say, uh, one of the production companies that has treated me the best, which has made me want to continue doing it with my new show, is probably Slasher 15. I don't know
Slasher
if you're
15.
familiar with them. Um,
Uh not so much.
okay.
Uh oh no, go ahead.
Yeah, Dave Kerr, based in the Virginia area. He has a really good crew. He did Bloody Summer Camp. That was
Oh,
probably
get
his,
okay. Yep.
yeah.
Sorry.
That was his first big one. That's on Tubi. Anybody can watch that now. Then he did Go Away. Um, if you go back a little further, he did Curse of the Slasher Nurse and he did Return of the Slasher Nurse. And just recently, they put out The Slasher Nurse, which is kind of a remake of Curse of the Slasher Nurse. And if you get a chance to see that, absolutely check it out because it's pretty awesome. Like every movie they've done has been just like dramatically better than the one before.
Oh
And
yeah.
and this one's no different. I mean, they're really honing their craft and what they can do. They've been really great to me. He actually had me down to the premiere in Winchester, Virginia, and allowed me to host his Q&A, which was really freaking awesome.
That is
I
awesome.
was scared. I was scared to death, but I did it anyway.
Oh yeah. Uh, so let's talk about like specific movies. Like I remember the very first movie word for word that I can remember was Sleepaway Camp.
Okay.
Like I can quote you that movie from beginning to end, backwards to frontwards. I'm not going to do it because we'll be here for a while, but still.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've actually had the honor of meeting Felissa Rose twice because she came up to a Michigan. She came up to Michigan for a convention, and an awesome lady.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most purest hearts I know out there.
Yeah.
But that was my beginning, like my introduction into horror, to where it was like driving it into me is like Sleepaway Camp, Halloween, stuff I grew up with.
Yeah.
But the independent scene lately in the last 5 6 years has been kicking ass.
It's really incredible where it's gone, how far it's come. I
Uh,
mean, and you still get a wide variety of quality. Like some people are just getting started and they're picking up a camcorder and they're going out and shooting in their backyard, and then you have people doing Indiegogos, raising 65, $70,000 and putting together a production that could rival Hollywood. You know what I mean? It's really it's a really cool thing to see. I mean, with the advent of digital recording and all the editing you're capable of doing in your own home now. I mean, special effects that people have taught themselves how to do. I mean, they really are doing professional work in a lot of cases.
oh yeah. Uh, the, the thing about independent film for me is, and I don't know if you've seen any of the interviews I've done, but I say it in every interview.
Mhm.
CGI is cool, but I love practical effects.
Yeah,
And that kind of, it shows more passion for what they do when they want to use practical effects. I mean,
yeah.
I might be wrong, but I don't know.
I mean, practical effects is definitely a really good way to pull off an effect because it promotes the realism of what's going on. Like CG is always fake. It's always going to look fake, unless you have like really good uh, software to make that happen. You got somebody who's really talented with using it. It's there's something that's going to look artificial about it. So having something that's tangible and on screen that somebody's manipulating to make this effect come off is it's always going to look better, in my opinion, as well. Um, and I'll take it a step further, and I'll say that very recently I talked to Melissa Sapienza, and we were talking about Crackoon, and I talked about how I was even fine with the CG raccoon that they had when Beth fell asleep in the chair by the water. And and she said, "Yeah, it was so ridiculous, but it was perfectly ridiculous." And I was like, "That is my wish for all, independent filmmakers. If you're gonna do bad CG, make sure it's very bad CG, because then it's a joke all in itself, and it's a beautiful thing.
Oh
So
yeah,
it has a place and it can be useful."
oh yeah. Speaking of Melissa, I actually had her on a show too. We talked about
Mhm.
Killer Camp Out Part Two. Uh,
Yes.
the She is such an awesome person, you
Yeah.
know. And the thing is like the actors and actresses that are doing the independent film. Yeah, we all have our heroes. Our Jamie Lee Curtis's, our Kurt Russells from Escape from New York and stuff like that.
Hmm.
but the people that are in the independent scene right now are killing it on a much larger level than what Hollywood's producing, because Hollywood is producing over and over the same stuff. And it's like, how many times can you see different actresses or actors play the same role?
Yeah.
Like, but I hands down one of the best movies I've seen in the last decade was a movie called Disremembered.
I think I have a copy of that. No, I'm sorry. I got Desperate Souls. Sorry. I was
Uh,
thinking of the one before it, you know.
uh, well, the see, I love horror, blood and gore. Give me all that good gooey stuff. But
Yeah.
the ending of that movie, I'll say it again. I've said it like 15 times already. It just hits on a different level because you're expecting this crazy ass ending, and then it just ends in a manner of I did not see that shit coming.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I missed out on that one, which is bothersome to me. That was Acrostar, wasn't it?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I mentioned that first podcast that I did. We got to know um SJ and Anne pretty well. And we did a couple of like I don't know if they were live streams, but we did interviews with them. Um, and we got to host a couple of their Indiegogo backer premieres, which was cool because they just set up a meeting, they invite all the backers in, they show the movie, and we just do a Q&A kind of at the end. So it's like it was an online premiere, but it was
Uh,
just for backers, and that was really a lot of fun. And we got to do that a couple of times. I think I did the Attack of the Corn Zombies
oh yeah.
when that one came out. That was a lot of fun. That's a cool movie. I'm pretty
Yes.
sure that's still up on YouTube where anybody can just watch that anytime.
I think it's on False Fossum.
Is that where it is now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Might
I'll
still be
have to
on
check.
Tubi too.
It might be. I know that they had temporarily put it up on YouTube for a little while for people to see it for nothing, and I thought they were going to take it down, and I was shocked when I went back to look that it was still up.
Oh
So,
yeah.
yeah,
Uh
but now I have to see Disremembered.
yeah. Now I'm telling you, like Angel Bradford and Morgan Malam and Beth,
Yes.
like everyone in that cast just killed it from beginning to end, you know?
Yeah.
And to me, that's how you really want your movies to be nowadays. Is just like keep me from beginning to end and I'm happy. And stop doing Marvel. I am so sick of Marvel.
I get what
But
you're saying.
yeah. Uh I don't know, it's like what would you say if someone came to you and said, "Hey, here's $1 million, cast your top 10 actors and actresses, use the entire money amount of money." What actors and actresses would you use?
Oh my God.
Oh
Um, there's so many good ones. Um, I'd be sourcing independent film actors for sure. I wouldn't be I wouldn't be grabbing any Hollywood names unless it was just to have a cameo in there. Although I just lied to you. I would have Brian Bremer for sure. Um, I mentioned that the slasher nurse,
yeah.
he has a spot in that movie. He's got one scene, but he set it on fire, man. He is so good. He is a very underrated character actor. Everybody remembers him from Pumpkinhead or Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 5. You know what I mean? Which he was great in those movies. But he did a lot of work outside of that, like video game voiceovers and like stage acting and things like that. And his scene in that, like I was literally glued to the screen. He was giving such a performance.
Uh,
But not literally, but I was couldn't take my eyes off it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um, so Morgan's good. I'd probably want to have her. Um, Chris O'Brien is fantastic.
Yes.
That's somebody that I think I'd probably want to talk to and have on my show at some point. I just got done talking to Justin Martin, and I haven't released that review yet or interview. I know you talked to him, didn't you?
Yep.
Yeah. Um,
Awesome dude.
yeah. He's a good choice. I would probably pick him up too because they make a good pair.
Oh yeah.
They were great in Crackoon together. I laughed so hard every scene that they were together.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah. Um, I'd probably pick up Felissa just because she's so fun and zany. You know what
Oh
I
yeah.
mean? Uh, she was in the Slasher Nurse again, playing another crazy character. So that was great. Um, Angel's good. I'd probably want her. Hmm, who else we got? I don't know. I'm kind of a fan of Rebecca Reinhardt. I think I'd like to see her.
That's the
Um,
name I have yet to speak with yet. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
She's pretty cool. I think you'll like her if you get to have her on. Um,
Uh,
and
it's
but
now there's I actually will 100% agree with everyone you said so far. So
yeah. It's on my mind because I saw her last night on a movie. I was watching uh Night of the Dead Sorority Babes. Uh Mia Katz killed that performance as Roxy.
oh yeah.
Um I I would pick her. She's good.
Oh yeah. She's actually going to be a guest later on NC-17 later in the month.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
She did kill it. I'm not. I
Yeah.
mean, but I don't know if you've seen the review I've done on it, or if any of the interviews I've spoken with the people who were in the movie. But there's one particular scene, and I keep saying it's like when they made the quiet girl go quiet. I was
Okay.
like, that right there
Okay.
was
Yeah, yeah.
genius.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's like the litter of like the group of people that are doing these movies now, and it's not even just in the horror genre, like drama, comedy. The independent scene, top to bottom, right now is probably the meat and potatoes of entertainment, in my opinion. You know,
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah.
but I will always. There's two companies I am close with. That's Wendigo Pictures.
Okay.
They've done a movie called Flesh, and their second movie comes out later this year, which is
Ooh,
Bad Things Happen Here. You can see Flesh
okay.
on Amazon Prime. It's a body horror film, but definitely worth checking out.
That
And then,
makes sense.
oh yeah, and then Horrorland Media. They've done two movies. The first one was Mother Shucker, which is a comedy horror, and
Okay.
then a second one is Twisted Gables, which is just came out. They just had their cast premiere last night.
Okay.
So I actually haven't seen that one yet. I'll be watching that one tomorrow. But definitely check out their movies. I mean, they're in the independent scene, but you can tell kind of like where they stand right now. Like
Okay.
Horrorland Media kind of just last year just kind of came out of nowhere, you know.
Okay.
And I've had damn near everybody that's with that whole company on my channel. So
Yeah, yeah, you're a pretty busy guy. I scanned over your channel and I was like, holy oh my God, how many interviews does this guy do a week? You know, I'm sitting here struggling to get one every 2 weeks, because I'm like it's just me and it kind of stresses me out trying to prep for an interview. I love doing them. Don't get me wrong. It's just like I feel like I have to give a certain amount of time to each one because I don't want to feel like I screwed it up. So like that's just a personal thing. So kudos to you, man. I mean, that's a lot of content you got on there, and it sounds like you got a lot more good stuff to come.
well, all right. So well, first, thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Hmm.
With me, so like I said, it started as a wrestling one, right? A wrestling podcast, but
Yeah.
and that was 2 years ago.
Okay.
So me and my co-host Lisa, who is an author, by the way, and I met
Okay.
her at a convention, and we just struck chemistry gold. We kind of once we got off that other person's platform and started doing things on our own, we kind of took a step back a little bit, but kind of reprogrammed everything, you know.
Right.
And on New Year's Eve was our 100th episode of this past New Year's Eve.
Wow.
And I told her, I was like, we're gonna hit the ground running. We're gonna hit bumps. That's life. But I told her, I was like, if it's one person, if it's a million people, I want to show the respect to the people who are out there like every day doing what they need to do, you know?
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's yourself included, man. I mean, because
Yeah.
without, people like you, I can't sit here and say, well, damn, this dude's doing awesome. So, you make me want to step up, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just, I tell myself every day, I just want to stop working for people and start working for myself.
That would be nice. That's always the goal, right?
Oh, yeah.
Not have anybody telling you what to do.
Only my wife.
Yeah, that's right. I get you. I get you. That's a
Yeah.
common arrangement.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, it's a respect thing for everybody in the entertainment world, whether you're a boom man, actor, director, actress, whoever. For me, the love of movies that I have exceeds the love of like almost everything else outside of my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you mentioned something there. That you said boom man. And it made me think that when I talk to some of these indie people, I love to find out what other things they know how to do, because they didn't just start in front of the camera. Most of them, many of them were either background characters, or they learned to do a different job on set, or they were just the gopher and they were hoping to get in on screen one day. And I love learning some of the things that they started with, and what those jobs are all about. Like, I was talking to Melissa and I just pointed it out because I saw it in the credits on one of the movies of hers that I watched, that she was a script supervisor. And I was like, I talked to her about that for a minute or two, because script supervisor is kind of one of those unsung hero type of jobs, because like they're in charge of continuity. They're making sure that the set looks the same every day when you go to shoot on it, and making sure that you're not leaving something out, or if you filmed a scene and somebody said something and they're contradicting it in this scene, I mean, you would point that out and be like, hey, we did this yesterday, we need to do this today.
Oh yeah.
So,
And no, I mean you're right. That I mean the thing is that's why when I interview people, I agree with you. It's like, I try to put it in the title actor, director, producer,
mhm.
And the thing is like a lot of these actors and actresses and directors and producers and stuff, like you said, they do start pushing a cart, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And that shows the drive and determination of them, which again, my hat goes off to them because there's a lot of people that's like, well, I don't want to do this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I got a
Uh
question for you.
oh.
Since since you're in the interviewing format,
Mhm.
um, do you do you take inspiration from any other interviewers? See, this is what we ask actors. What actors do you take inspiration from? What interviewers do you take inspiration from?
Uh all right, so this is gonna sound so cliche, but I grew up with it. But Carson Daly a little bit,
Okay.
you know, and a little bit of like Jerry Springer just because of the flamboyancy of his shows, you know.
I
So
love it.
those are two, but this is really gonna be out there. Morton Downey Jr.
Get out.
Yeah,
Okay.
you
Okay.
know, but the number one, and not even movies, but Mean Gene Okerlund.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I get that. Man, that guy was a staple for a long time. I loved his interviews.
Oh yeah,
Um, yeah, I remember watching him, when I was a kid at WWF days.
oh yeah,
Just out there in the hallway, talking to guys by the double steel doors, you know what I mean?
oh yeah.
Yeah,
You
he
know,
was really good.
the thing about it is like my interview style. Yeah, it may sound the same, but every single question I ask gets a different response.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
know, and the thing is like even with you right now, it's like you asking me questions and me asking you questions. I mean, the thing is this is what we do.
Hmm.
And yeah. we may work 9 to 5 jobs and have to put up with stuff outside of this, but at the end of the day, when I'm doing this, I don't feel like I'm working. I feel like I'm just having fun and talking to my friends.
That's exactly why I do it. Uh, this is my stress relief, believe it or not. This is how I have fun. Um, and this isn't the only thing I do either. If you check out my YouTube channel, you'll see that there's a second show on there. A friend of mine up in Canada does a podcast he calls That Other Horror Podcast, and I'm a permanent guest on there. So we take turns every week. Somebody picks a movie, and we review that movie the next week. So um, yeah, that's how I blow off steam.
Oh yeah,
It's a great outlet if you can get it.
oh yeah. Uh, Here's a question:
Okay.
how many movies do you own?
I don't even know. I don't even know. Um, I mean, independent movies, that is a collection that hasn't started very quickly. Um, I'd say maybe 50 or 60 titles. I don't have a ton of them, but I've been going out to this convention. Went last year for the first time, and I bought probably 20 of them there. And I'm probably going to go again this year in August. It's a very small convention, but it's specifically indie films. Gross Fest, if you've heard of it. It's out in Pittsburgh.
Heard of it?
Um,
Yep.
yeah, so I mean, it's about 6 hour drive for me, but that's cool. I'll stay in the hotel and I'll get to meet a whole bunch of people that are in these movies that I like. So that's the plan. I'll pick up some more movies, I'll bring them back, and then hopefully I can systematically review them. Yeah.
Yeah, I've uh, I've been collecting since I was 15. I'm
Okay.
45,
Okay.
so I- I'm dating everyone here. I have beta tapes. I have laser disc. I mean, you name it, I got it.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, but
Well, we're not.
independent film. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say we're not too far apart in the age. I'm
Uh,
46,
uh,
and I remember the beta days. I didn't have one, but I remember them.
oh yeah. Well, I mean, believe it or not, that stuff can be expensive.
I bet it can. It's
Yeah.
hard to find now.
Oh yeah. I have one in particular beta that I will never open, and that's the Magnificent Seven.
Really?
Yeah. Like to me,
Oh,
that's an epic movie that should never, like, if you own it, watch it, put it in a sleeve and let it sit.
okay.
Just
Yeah.
personal opinion.
Yeah. The OG Magnificent Seven. I saw it one time. Man, there's a lot of names in that one.
Yeah.
Um, remember Charles Bronson's in that. Geez.
But
Steve McQueen? Steve McQueen in that?
yep.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a little while, but
Oh yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, all the movies I own, my wife says I have way too many, which she's probably definitely not right. I don't have enough. I'll just say I'm over the 1,000 mark. I'll leave it at
Okay.
that.
Yeah, we we have a collection otherwise, but it's not quite like that. We've actually downsized a lot of it, and I rely heavily on streaming services now. I get physical media of things that I really care about and want to hang on to, uh, and sometimes indie movies, that's the only way you can get it. So I'm going to maintain my indie film physical media collection because at the moment that means the most to me right now.
Oh yeah. Uh, so we have about 9 minutes left.
All right.
Let's go shoot for shoot. You name a movie, and I'll try to see if I can one up it and see if I can come up with another movie.
Uh, are we going for mainstream movies? We going for indie movies? What are we doing?
Uh, Anyone doesn't matter. Open
Okay.
field.
All right. Um, I don't know if you ever saw this or not. I just talked about it the other week on my review show. Model Hunger.
I have not seen that one.
I've I bring it up because uh, we've been talking about independent films, and Lynn Lowry is the main character in that, and that is probably the best performance I've ever seen her give is in
Uh,
that movie. And she's a murderer and a cannibal, so maybe check it out.
uh, you said Model Hunger, right?
Model Hunger. Yep.
Is that where models go to this house for like a shoot or something, and then they systematically get taken out?
Um, Not necessarily models, just people who show up at this woman's house. So her character is a former model from the 60s, and she was rejected by the industry, and that harbored a lot of anger for her towards the industry, towards men in general, and towards women who subscribe to the men's idea of beauty. So whenever she runs into it, she'll drug them with tea, hit them over the head with something, dismember them, that type of stuff.
Uh,
It's a ride.
all right, I'm definitely gonna check that one out. All right, I'll go with may have seen it, may have not. Just talked to this gentleman yesterday. Gorfers.
Gorpers?
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Gorephers.
Oh, like gopher, but gore.
Yeah.
uh, I'm gonna have to. Okay, from 2015.
Yep.
We're party in the prairie only to have it crashed by deadly gophers. Oh, come on. Oh, I gotta watch it. I love animal attack movies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was when I watched it, I was like, okay, the name alone, I'm in for a ride. But when I watched it, and I don't want to give away too much, but when I watched it, I was like, that ride was like going down a bumpy road, but I loved every single pothole we hit.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
definitely good.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got about
Uh,
6 minutes left.
okay.
So there's 2 minutes, there not 2 minutes. There's two movies that my wife absolutely will not watch.
Okay.
Return of the Living Dead Necropolis, which I love,
Okay.
and Return of the Living Dead Brave to the Grave, which I also love. Both those
Okay.
are good movies. Have you seen those?
I think I've seen Necropolis. I don't think I've seen the other one.
Brave to the Grave is a lot more violent. Definitely worth checking out.
Where have I? Now I'm curious. That really sounds familiar now that you're saying it. Brave to the Grave, huh? 2005. No, I've not seen that.
Uh,
I've not seen it, but I'll look for it.
so I can show you. It just happened. One of the
Okay.
stars of 4 and 5 has just agreed to be on the show. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, probably the best character
Hmm.
because like she's the type of character that's like she could be your little sister, but at the end of the day, she can still kick some ass. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Uh, but no, it's I don't know. Like I normally close out my shows a certain way, but since you're the guest and you've got your own show, I'm going to let you close out the show the way you want to.
Okay. Um, well, I do want to close it out by saying thank you again for having me on. And that's I really think it's a cool thing that you're doing here, giving all these folks a spotlight, because it's well deserved. Many of them work really hard and they don't get the recognition that they deserve. And I think it's time that their work gets spread around and they know that they got fans from all over out there. So a lot of times a movie will stay in kind of like a small area because it just doesn't get out, And I think that sharing these things amongst ourselves and getting it, even one state away, you know what I mean, is growth for these folks that they deserve for everything that they've done. Um, I mean, I can't help but plug myself. I mean, I got the Grease Stain Cinema. where I like to do independent reviews. I also do interviews, and of course, we got that other show, that other horror podcast. Um, it's a good time. I have the same goals. I want to celebrate these independent films. I want to talk about these filmmakers and get more people to watch them, and hopefully have a good time doing it. And I always end my show by saying, "You don't need a big budget to make a badass movie."
There you go. Everybody, until next time, stay NC-17.
Thank you, sir.